Every time I rewatch The Return of the Jedi, it just makes me dislike the Rise of Skywalker just that wee tiny bit more. Hey guys, welcome to my review of Star Wars Return of the Jedi. I'm going to be going over what I liked, what I didn't like, and then my overall thoughts on the film. So I think the characters are great in this film yet again. So you've got Luke, Leia, Lando, Han Solo. They're all continuing the arcs from the last movie, and they're all just great in this film again. And it was really enjoyable watching them all. So when we first meet Luke Skywalker in the film, he's more like this like wise Jedi Knight as opposed to the last film. When he shows up at Jabba's palace, he's telling Jabba what he wants done and how he wants it done, and he wants it done now to save Han. It was honestly great just to see him more confident, and the way he just like is he like owns a presence in the room. Even though Jabba is laughing at him about being a Jedi Knight, he just Luke is there and he knows what he needs to do, and he'll do whatever it takes to get it. And the way he just like force chokes that guy walking in, it was just really cool to see. And it just I actually quite like his like costume, and it just looks pretty awesome as well. Han Solo is still the cool guy in this movie. He's still the guy you want to be, even though he looks more out for his friends in this movie and everyone else around him. But he hasn't changed much in his personality and his quirks, and he's just dead cool on screen. And he's just every time he's on a fight screen, he is just awesome in it. And Leia, yet again, she takes up a more leadership role in this movie, and you can tell that she is on her way to becoming the general of the Rebel Alliance, and it's just awesome to see her grow throughout this trilogy and becoming more and more of a general in the Rebel Alliance. The movie's just full of awesome action sequences. You have the beginning at Jabba's palace when they're freeing Han Solo, and when they're out on that deck, and Luke's just swinging around his lightsaber. Like he's not got any like choreography or anything. He's just swinging that thing, and it's just awesome. He's just taking out people left, right, and center, and then he gets shot in the hand, and he's like the wee wires and stuff. I just like that wee attention to detail, and it just looked really cool. And obviously, he's got the green lightsaber in this one as well. And I just feel like the green lightsaber suits him a lot more. I don't know why actually. I actually have the lightsaber replica there, but I don't have any batteries in it, so I don't want to show without the batteries. But it is just cool. He's just like swinging, and then you've got Lando and Han Solo just shooting. Princess Leia kills Jabba. It's just an awesome action sequences, and it just shows where each character is in that moment of time in terms of like their fighting abilities and stuff. Well, more except for Han Solo, really, because obviously he has been in carbonite for the past however long between the films is. We also get introduced to the Emperor for the first time in this movie. Obviously, we've seen him in the last one, but it was just a hologram. But in this one, we finally see him in person. And Ian McDermott is just awesome in this role. Every time he's on screen, he's just like creepy and has the voice and stuff. And obviously, the makeup just makes him look terrifying as well. And like the last two movies, Darth Vader has been like the main villain in this like intimidating presence. But when the Emperor's there, it just completely takes over. And you can tell Darth Vader serves him and but the Emperor sells no one, and it's just really awesome to see. And then Darth Vader in this movie, obviously we know now that he's Luke's dad, he's Anakin Skywalker, and it just added way more depth to him as a villain. Like at first when you see him in Return in A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, you think he's the guy that killed all the Jedi. Well, obviously he is, but you think he's the guy that killed Anakin Skywalker. And but when you find out he is Anakin Skywalker, it just creates this new like relationship between him and Luke, where instead of Luke wanting to be at odds with Darth Vader, all he wants to do is just bring him back to the light side, and that is his goal in the film. Like that, Luke's overall goal is to bring Darth Vader back to the light, and you can just see that throughout the entire film, and you can see glimmers of it throughout the movie. When it's even something stupid like when they first sees Luke and they have like that wee bit of conversation when he's just like judging his lightsaber. It was just kind of wee tiny things they got throughout the movie I just thought were great, and you can just tell that Darth Vader is still an intimidating and terrifying presence, but whenever looks at it, he does bring out the slightest bit of light in him, which is great to see. See as well, see the scene where Yoda dies, that just always hit me so much. I don't know why, when I was a kid, it just made me sad, and still when I watch it now, it just makes me sad. I think it's because he's like literally talking to Luke, he confirms to Luke that Darth Vader is Anakin, and then he just dies, just disappears into thin air, then like, the wee blanket falls. I just thought it was so sad to watch, and it still actually like hits me to this day. Then when they go, the full group goes to Endor. It's just full of even more awesome action sequences, and it's just the stormtroopers versus all the rebels, and it's just amazing to watch. You have them all infiltrating because they're trying to figure out what's happening with the second Death Star. They have to destroy the shield generator in Endor so they can access, they can go up and destroy it from the outside. It was just a great sequence, and obviously we get introduced to the Ewoks, which I personally don't hate. Like I feel like a lot of people hate the Ewoks. I think it's more people my age that don't mind them, that I actually find they're quite funny and cute. Whenever they're on screen, I was kind of like, all right, but it's weird because I have actually unedited editions as well. So I have the unedited films and the Blu-rays, and in the unedited versions, the Ewoks don't blink, but they added it in like later on. It's quite it's a small detail, but I just thought I'd add it in there because it's a pretty weird thing they added. But like I suppose it makes sense. They have to blink, otherwise they'll get dry eyes. I don't know why I care about the Ewoks dry eyes so much. Just forget about that bit. Forget I even said that, to be honest. So after everything goes down on Endor, the best scene in the film, and I think it's like maybe my second or third favourite sequence in any Star Wars movie, is when Luke goes up to meet Darth Vader and the Emperor, and the Emperor's just constantly taunting Luke, taunting him. He's like, you're going to turn to the dark side. I know it, I know it, I know it. And then Luke goes to kill the Emperor. He's about to actually turn to the dark side and kill Palpatine. And then Darth Vader intervenes, and that's when Luke kind of stands off a bit. He's like, I'm not going to kill you, I'm not going to kill you. Until Darth Vader just mentions, oh yeah, I know you have a sister. If you don't turn, she will. And then Luke just snaps and just goes at Vader, swinging and swinging at him until he chops his arm off. And then Darth Vader's on the ground and Luke is ready to kill him. And I think that's the thing with the Emperor. The Emperor kept laughing. So that's what made him Luke realise, it's like, oh wait, no, if I kill him, I'm going to be as bad as both him and Emperor, so I can't do that. And then the Emperor's like, right, well, you failed. So he electrocutes Luke. And I think this kind of shows how naive the Emperor is. Obviously he's a smart Emperor and he's like powerful. But the fact he's like electrocuting Luke on the ground and didn't look around him at all, and then Darth Vader just comes, picks him up and throws him down the shaft where he died. I stand by, he died. He shouldn't have came back. He died in that shaft. Then at this point, obviously you realise that Darth Vader has basically just risked his life to save Luke, and he's turned to the light. So when Luke takes his mask off, he's like, I want to look at you through my own eyes. So this is when he basically meets Anakin for the first time, and he has the mask off, and he's all messed up. Like, he's got scars all over his face. You can see that he's like, there's been damage done to him in the past. So that was awesome. Actually, another note, in unedited versions, he had eyebrows, but he doesn't in the Blu-rays. It used to have eyebrows, but it doesn't anymore. They took them out. But he looks like Humpty Dumpty in my opinion. Like, he's got like a weird shaped head. It's all frazzled and everything. It's just, he's quite grotesque to look at. Don't know how I can say that there. Ignore that. But yeah, it just looks horrible, and you can see it's been damaged. And then him and Luke have their final words until he just dies. And then you can see that Luke, it actually makes Luke tear up because he finally seen Anakin. He finally met Anakin Skywalker, who was the Jedi he'd been hearing about his entire life. He finally met him, and then he just died. And it's quite sad actually to see Luke like deal with that, because it's quite like, alright, it turned good for like 5 minutes and then now he's dead. When it comes to any gripes with the movie, personally, I just think like the second Death Star maybe being a bit of a cop out, but you need something for the rebels to do, so it didn't really intervene in the story that much, because the story was mostly for Luke to go and turn Vader back. But I would just say it was maybe a bit like they've maybe phoned it in with the second Death Star. It wasn't really needed, but it made sense at the end of the day. But I wasn't a huge fan of it, and I felt like the Ewoks took out the Stormtroopers a bit too much. Like, it was a bit too easy for them to kill the Stormtroopers, even though, because like they're trained soldiers and they're wee bears basically. But apart from that, like, that's the only two main gripes I have in the movie. It's nothing big. It's just like two nitpicky points I really had. But overall, I really love this movie, and I have rewatched it so many times. And personally, I think it's the perfect ending to the trilogy. And if you don't like the Disney movies, to the saga overall, just a great movie. It's a great story. It wraps up each character's arc perfectly. And personally, I just thought it was awesome. If I was to give it a final rating, I would definitely give it an A. It's a perfect ending to the trilogy, and it's just a great movie overall, and it just makes you feel good every time you watch it. So thanks a lot for watching the video, guys. If you enjoy this kind of content, I review movies, comics, whatever. If you like that kind of content, be sure to hit the subscribe button and give the video a wee like if you enjoyed it, and let me know what you thought of Return of the Jedi and what's like your favourite Star Wars trilogy. I'm going to take a break for reviewing the Star Wars movies because there's other content I want to make. So I'm in a wee while's time, I'll go back and I'll review the prequels and then I'll review the sequels. But I'll take a wee break just because there's other kind of content I want to make. But like I said, thanks a lot for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video, guys.